All right, it just showed up there. You think they're going to try to get Ken Jennings to take over Jeopardy? I think they should try to take Ken Jennings. I think he could be the host of Jeopardy. That's my.
I don't think so. Michael Jordan, not a good coach. Just because he's the best player? Nope. Don't think so. Don't think so.
All right. I have shared it on Facebook.
See if I'm in business here.
You got it? Do you see it?
I just didn't do it yet. I'm doing it now. It'll be up there in a second.
Excellent. Excellent.
Yeah. All right. It's there. Howdy.
Ready when you are.
Yeah. All right. Okay. All right. The Brad and Britt cast is underway for this day. Thank you again for joining us. Let me choice here. Fork in the road.
Wow.
Ready?
I love a choice. Yep. Here we go.
Mike Tyson or Alex Trebek? Mike Tyson or Alex Trebek?
You know, in deference to the life that was well lived, let's go with Alex Trebek on this one.
All right. So what? So he spent the last day of his life doing what he wanted to do. He sat on a swing with his wife and watched the sun go down. Which, you know, one day that may be a Jeopardy clue.
Yeah, that's right.
It could be. That brings us to the just tedious question of who will be the next Jeopardy host. And just like with Johnny Carson, Trebek did not say it should be this person, it should be that person. And Johnny Carson's mistake was that he didn't say it should be David Letterman. So it ended up being able to be Jay Leno, the suck up. So it was. It doesn't look like there's any kind of backstage maneuvering equivalent to that to become the next Jeopardy host. But the chances that are going to be any of the names that have been out there, like George Stephanopoulos, God forbid,
holy Lord,
or Laura Coates, the CNN legal analyst, and I think she has a couple of hours every day on Sirius XM. I mean, she's smart, but I would just think it would be a game show person right now, and we don't live in that same era of people whose only profession was being a game show host. There are no Tom Kennedys anymore.
No, but I'm hoping Steve Harvey gets another job out of this. That's ultimately my.
Stop!
Ultimately, my thought is that Steve Harvey gets one more job because I just don't see. I see this guy. He's got 5 minutes of free time tying his shoes in the morning. So
yeah, okay. Well, that kind of settles that. Okay,
I can't think of any. I really, off the top of my head, can't think of anybody who I think would be I remember at one point in time when Matt Lauer was going through a particularly tough time. And you remember this at NBC?
Yeah, he wanted it.
And they were floating it. I think his agent basically was trying to do that for some sort of leverage or whatever. Then, of course, Matt Lauer became whatever he became. So I don't know if there's any. I can't think of anyone off the top of my head who would be perfect for that. I'm always trying to float Wayne Brady for every job possible because I just think Wayne Brady is so perfect. But I don't know if he would be good for this job or not, to be honest with you.
No, he could do it. In another time, in another place, you could actually see the name Donald Trump in the mix back when he was a game show kind of host, the celebrity. But
holy God,
once the interview would take place and they realized he knows nothing and he can't even really fake that he knows anything and that he's not very personable. And he has no personal. Probably would have knocked him out of contention even 10 years ago.
Let me float one name out there that just popped into my head. A guy who's extremely bright and he's very glib and he has good connections with people. Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Oh, wow.
No, Neil deGrasse Tyson. I think would be a perfect kind of guy. He's got that erudite kind of air to him, and I think he's got a good rapport with the public and stuff. And I don't know if that would be something he'd be interested in, but I think he'd be good. And Neil deGrasse Tyson, of course, the brother of Mike Tyson, which was your second story, I believe.
Right. Here you go. Mike Tyson on TMZ Sports' podcast revealed that he used a fake penis called a Whizzinator and his baby's urine in order to fool the drug testers.
Baby urine.
He says he never did take performance-enhancing drugs during his career, but he did use cocaine and marijuana. He also said he first used his wife's urine before switching to the baby urine out of fear that the testers would figure out that the urine was from a woman.
Right, and then he also hit his wife's and she left, so that was another reason he wasn't able to didn't have access to the pee anymore.
Right.
Do you know what I saw the other day? Speaking of baby urine, and I don't know if this was an Etsy shop or somebody was showing this to me. They've got these little coverings that you can get if you have a boy child, and it's like a small little round. It's almost like a miniature pump tent, and you can get it with your favorite football team or whatever logo you want. And when you're changing the kid's diaper, from time to time, the kid will pee, and it'll go all over the place, and sometimes in your face, and sometimes in your mouth. There are all those stories parents have. You can put this thing over the kid's penis while you're doing whatever you need to do until you can get over there and cover it up. Have you ever heard of these things?
So it's like a blocking kind of thing.
Yeah, it's a blocking thing.
Because you couldn't possibly use, say, a wash rag, or if you wanted to do that, you have to buy something with a logo on it.
You have to the Green Bay Packers thing to block the kid's piss is what you would need to have there.
Right.
So have you ever heard of such a thing? And do you remember any mishaps from your boy child from when he was a baby when you were changing the kid's diaper?
Our children were perfect during.
Did you use a clothespin? What did you use there, Britt? And you can't think of pee without thinking about Donald Trump. And that gets us, look at the perfect symmetry and all of the great things that get us going into Donald Trump and current events there. We went from Jeopardy, Alex Trebek, to Mike Tyson, to Donald Trump seamlessly, the seamless ball of comedy, I believe David Michael Letterman used to call it, right?
Yeah.
Does the P tape exist, and will we ever get to see it, Brad? That is the big question out of this election.
Yeah.
I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah. Well, I have this thought. If he really does take it all the way, whatever it is, the denial, the lying, the intimidation, the no one willing to speak out publicly against him in the Republican Party, the hedging, the fake, the same shit.
Legal votes.
The threat that he's going to run and again, even though we know it's likely he's going to be in court most of the time. I'm going to form a super PAC and all. If he would take that all the way to, say, Inauguration Day, what are the chances? And I think we have to pull back and talk about the idea that Donald Trump was the second president of the Confederacy.
Okay?
A portion of America that said, we are our own country and we believe in you only. You are the truth. You are the man. You are the government. And everything you say, we will march in line behind you, like the Confederacy left the Union. And so if he takes this all away and continues to cause trouble, and I don't know whether this is going to happen because I'm not quite sure this is a great strategy for the 2 Senate races in Georgia to have hanging over them under the guise of, and I know everything we always think is wrong because Donald Trump's a genius, that this is going to stoke turnout among the Republicans in Georgia. They're already stoked enough. This doesn't seem like a good look for Republicans going into those 2 elections.
And yet,
at the beginning of January,
they're still doing it.
They're still doing it. Right. Everything we think makes sense, doesn't happen. But let's say he takes it all the way out to January 20th. Why would he not then finally, at the 11th hour, after he issues the pardons to the people who shouldn't be getting pardons and does the final outrage things of the last 24 hours to, of course, take the spotlight off of the incoming president and shine it back towards him, which, right, his goal. How dare you, Joe Biden, think that this is all about you, the inauguration? No, it's about me. What are the chances that he then finally gets on an airplane, flies down to Mar-a-Lago, they hoist a giant Trump flag over that resort, and he becomes the president of the Trump Federacy? He literally forms a succession nation inside this country and says, Joe Biden is not your president. I am still your president. That he's so crazy. He's so insane that this completely off the wall inability to cope with reality takes him to that level. What do you think?
Yeah, no. And then he's got the mantra of I was never defeated. I'm undefeated. I am the uncrowned king, and all of, yeah. No, I don't dismiss any of that. There's no scenario that you can come up with. I'm going to go, no, it's too.
Well,
nuts.
I think that one's pretty crazy.
It's crazy, but there's
I defy you to top that. That's a pretty crazy one.
Well, but you can go like Donald Trump's going to go, I've decided that I was the real president. I'm inviting all of my people who support me to go to Mars, and we're going to colonize Mars, and you have to pay, $15,000. And I would go, well, that's stupid. But no, I don't really even think that that's insane, because I think that he would try to figure out something.
In order to get the down payment out of people?
Yeah, all of this, that's what all of this is. I mean, the legal defense money that's being, whatever they're doing to collect to make sure that the vote is protected. I'm putting my hands in quotations. All of that's going to end up in Trump's pocket. It's going to end up in Eric and Don Jr.'s pockets.
But even that is a fake.
Oh, it's fraudulent
fundraiser, because most of the money is going to pay off campaign debts.
Of course, it's fraudulent.
And they don't tell the people that.
It's all completely fake. And everybody, now the real story, I think, from yesterday was that everybody had been wondering where that worm Bill Barr was. And they had no idea where he was. He hadn't shown his ugly face in, that's now been a week since the election. And then he comes out and he goes, well, we're going to investigate. And now they boiled it down to quote unquote fraud in Pennsylvania and Nevada. The Department of Justice is quote unquote looking into allegations by Republicans that illegal votes were cast in Nevada and Pennsylvania. The investigations were disclosed by Attorney General Barr in a memo, and the guy who runs the election fraud department of the FBI immediately resigned, although I understand he remains with the department. So even this, if you read into what he said, it is a half-assed effort at best by William Barr and by the FBI to look at it. They're placating Baby Huey is what they're doing with this, right? And all of this gives more fuel to the fire of the Mitch McConnells and the people who are telling the president not to concede. Well, no, the FBI is looking into it, so we have to wait until this investigation is over. So all of this bullshit just continues. There's no grace in this guy. There's no chance for him, to do what's right for the country till the very bitter end and beyond. He's going to be a complete dick about this entire situation.
Well, but before we get too far beyond the moment, I want the record to show that while it wasn't hard to predict, the minute on Monday that Pfizer announced that they had 90% success with a vaccine, that Trump and all of them would say, that's not fair. You're announcing it now after the election. I said that would happen the day after the election. Here comes the vaccine, and they won't talk about the coronavirus. And of course, the CEO of Pfizer said, no, they just got the final results of the 30,000 person test, 6 or 7 days ago.
Right.
They just, but wait, this is the best part. The CEO of Pfizer wanted to inform the person who needed to know about it the most. And the phone call went to Joe Biden. The first phone call went to Joe Biden.
And God bless him for that. And compare those two statements yesterday. Donald Trump was, why didn't you guys put this out when it could have helped me? And Joe Biden was, thank God we have these professionals at Pfizer doing all that they can to help save people. That's all you really need to know. Do you know how that story was covered on one local news station that I saw? Brad, it said, President Trump congratulates Pfizer on their hard work with the vaccine. That's literally what their headline was. When that was not
that
the
is
story.
the story. Yes, that is the important part.
What it should have said was Donald Trump bitched at Pfizer for not getting the news out earlier so it could help him get reelected. Because that is what happened. That is what happened on Monday.
I understand that late Saturday night, the headline was Donald Trump congratulates Notre Dame.
That's right.
For beating Clemson, because that's the only story. Right.
Why couldn't you guys do this last week?
Donald Trump congratulates all the students for pouring out onto the field and spreading coronavirus through the Midwest.
So why couldn't you guys have beaten Notre Dame a week earlier when it could have helped me win re-election? Why couldn't you have done that? No, it's so stupid, and it is such a contrast in the adult who goes out there and says, "Man, I'm so glad this vaccine's rolling along." And everybody needs to temper this because again, people are going to read just the headlines. And I know people who are listening and watching us. It's fine; they know that these are early results, and Pfizer stressed that in the press release that, hey, it's very early, but we have some positive news that it's 90% effective. What you're going to see among the headlines, the people that don't dig into the story is, well, it's 90% effective. When can I go get it? Can I go down to CVS right now and get the shot? No, that's not what's happening. That's not what's happening. And Donald Trump's version of the story is, fuck these guys that didn't help me. So I don't give a shit what they're doing, right?
Yeah.
That's his version of the story. I don't give a shit about the vaccine.
I immediately burned all my masks because obviously I don't need them anymore.
And again, right? Donald Trump wonders why America is still even wondering about coronavirus. Supposedly on November the 4th, we were going to stop talking about it. Damn it, we're still talking about it. And if you get it, just have your driver take you to Walter Reed. That's the Donald Trump take on this entire story. Well, he doesn't understand any of that.
I think the really important thing, those of us living day-to-day lives, which is really everyone, is that now that the numbers and the chart has gone parabolic, almost straight up in the number of new cases per day, we're at about 120,000 and counting. And by the way, and I'm no math major, but 120,000 times 7, which is 7 days in a week, that's about 950,000. We can call that 1 million.
Sure.
So we're right now at about 1 million a week, and we could easily be soon at 2 million cases a week. And the hospital systems around the country are already stressed out of their minds.
Yes, absolutely.
They clearly can't take
absolutely
double the number of patients, and that's irrespective of whether treatment has gotten better or not. The numbers are the numbers, and you can't argue with them. Right. And this 70-some day period in between the election and Joe Biden becoming president, where President, I don't give a shit, President, I don't even acknowledge that it's real, President, come to my house and don't wear a mask, Trump, is now, if he was doing nothing before, he's doing less than nothing now because he's obsessed about staying away from actual people. We haven't seen him in public, right? So for 5 days,
right,
and just sitting in the White House tweeting bullshit out. And we know that the last thing on his mind is the coronavirus and taking care of the American people, which it was already the last thing on his mind before when he went around and did the did the rallies. I mean, I would assume that any day we're going to get any hour we're going to get an announcement that he's going to go do a rally somewhere. Don't you think?
I would say that, yeah. And Mother's Milk is always Alabama on this one, but I don't know. He might decide to go to Georgia.
Anywhere.
Yeah,
I think it's got to be it's got to be Pennsylvania or Georgia. You're right. Those are the two.
So
and he would need both of them.
Yeah,
he would need both of those states
to win. Yeah,
to win and decide that he was right and throw out the votes and the will of the people. And that's not going to happen. And
no. I think your money shot on this is he either goes right into the teeth of it and goes into downtown Atlanta, or he goes into Philadelphia. And just, after that debacle of a terrible press conference with Rudy Giuliani and those idiots in front of that landscaping company over the weekend, I don't know if they might try to redeem themselves by getting something big in Philadelphia in the town square just to show an in your face to people.
Oh yeah. So that we can have an honest to goodness riot.
Yeah, I think that's, and I think what you just said is true. I mean, we make a lot of fun of this, and I think people watching this know as well. All of this is truly dangerous. I mean, it's comical to see his lack of any kind of introspection or any kind of reflection at all. But all of this is truly dangerous. All of this is fomenting a lot of anger in the country, and it's needless. It's not based in fact at all. It's based entirely in his ego and his inability to acknowledge anything that's based in reality. He can't be a loser, because if the reality is the problem, then let's flip it and reality sucks. So the stuff that they're doing on Fox, particularly after 8 o'clock, you've seen over the past few days, there's been a real fracture in Fox News, between Fox News and Trump supporters. Them declaring Arizona as quickly as they have and then sticking with Arizona for Joe Biden has left a huge mark. And then you saw, of course, the clip from Neil Cavuto as he cuts off Kayleigh McEnany from lying her ass off in that press conference. You're seeing a lot of folks who will never forgive Fox News, and that, I believe, is going to be the next Trump initiative, and that's going to be the Trump News Network, whatever that turns out to be. If they turn this parlay thing into it, or if they somehow One America News Network gives him a piece of the pie or whatever. I think that was the original plan in 2016, and then they fucked up and won the election and the Electoral College.
I think all that talk is going nowhere, because I think the minute he is not president anymore, he gets slapped with a bunch of indictments from the state of New York.
Possibly.
It will not have mattered who got pardoned. It's
the Don Jr. show on One America News Network.
Well, but no, they're going to get indicted too. Eric is going to get indicted in the state.
Well, they'll cancel that show and they'll bring up Eric. They'll bring up Ivanka, and then Ivanka gets fired, and then it's the Jared show, and then eventually we get on to Tiffany and Barron having a show, right?
And as if we needed more things to set off this insane mind. It looks like at the Supreme Court that Don's buddies, John Roberts and Brett Kavanaugh, are going to come down on the side of saving the Affordable Care Act.
They didn't get the memo. These people who owe him so much.
That would be a 5-4 save for the Affordable Care Act.
It might even be more than that. It might even go 6-3, but it looks like they're poised to save most of the Affordable Care. And so these people who were supposed to be loyal to Donald Trump, Brad, they're turning their back on him, particularly in his hour of need.
But that's the illusion.
It's the sickness.
It's the sickness of, and can we just tear this down for one moment again?
I'd be happy to,
because it's necessary to understand why people are behaving this way. We know Trump is behaving this way because he's a dictator wannabe. He's an autocrat. He has no allegiance to the country. He has no allegiance to the Constitution. He doesn't know what rule of law is. He doesn't care. It's about his power. And now, for the last few years, it's been about evading, getting indicted and convicted on all kinds of crimes that he surely committed, and tax fraud and the rest. And that's what it's about for Donald Trump. And for the Republican establishment that stayed with Donald Trump, and all the senators who will not lift a finger, will not say one word on behalf of the country, it is out of fear of the voters who instantly would respond to a Donald Trump tweet when, as soon as they would speak up and say the right things right now, or any time over the last 4 years, that a crackpot right-winger to the right of them would be thrown into a primary to end their careers as senators. Okay, so whose fault is it? Yes, we've long past the point of expecting a profile in courage from anybody.
Forget it.
Susan Collins is disturbed, and Lisa Murkowski is disturbed, and Mitt Romney is concerned, and right?
Yeah.
And Ben Sass.
They're wringing their hands. They're just wringing their hands.
Those are supposedly the 4 senators who've said at least something, and not much. And the rest of them completely have fallen in line. But the bottom line is that these are politicians who want to save their jobs. And the way they save their jobs is to not piss off the voters for whom they are fearful of. Yeah. They're afraid of them. And they're afraid of them because they are fucked up. Republican voters who toe this line and make it so that Republican politicians are incapable of breaking away and doing the right thing for the country and being afraid of Donald Trump. It's the voters. It's those voters. I'm sorry. Here we are. It's Thanksgiving time. Thanksgiving, if people do get together, is not going to be any more pleasant for mixed families of Democrats and Republicans, right? Right. There isn't going to be peace.
And he's made it that way. Trump has made it even worse.
Exactly. Yeah. Trump actually could have said, forget. I'm not even going to say it. I'm not.
No, he could. No, I think I know what he could. I want the American families at Thanksgiving to have it. I want everyone to come together. I know there's been a lot of fracturing. I don't believe that.
Why do we even say it anymore, Britt? Why do we bother? Why do we bother?
There's this dream world that I was given a glimpse of on Saturday night where the president actually is an adult and he says things that bring the country together and he gives a shit about the country instead of himself. So I somehow think that perhaps any of that might have rubbed off on his stupid egotistical ass. No. But yes, again, if he could have said, I want American families to come together and give thanks the way the holiday was supposed to be. And I don't want this election to be something that fractures families. I am conceding. I will go away and I will figure out what my next step is. And I want us to throw our support. I can't even get through it behind Joe Biden.
Would you get off of the Java juice?
This fantasy world, I live in.
It doesn't exist with this guy. Yeah, but the voters have enabled this. They bought into it. They went to Trump University. Yeah, they bought Trump wine.
Do you think that they did
all that stuff? So
there's even a few people who are not even necessarily the hardcore fans who go, I just can't vote for Biden. I'm going to vote for Trump. Do you think even in the past week they've gone, God, this is I have significant. I don't. You think they just love this shit? The people who are,
or he really wouldn't have gotten another 5 million or whatever number more votes than he got the last time. And just because there were more of us who had complete Trump exhaustion. By the way, we had that about the first week of his presidency.
Don't you remember? Do you remember that do you remember that early 2017 when people were like, well, just give him a chance. He hasn't done anything yet. You guys won't even give him a chance.
But we did.
We did.
I can remember us having conversations on this very Brad and Britt cast where after blasting him, say, all right, maybe it's within the realm of possibility.
Yeah.
Not a great one. No. That he actually might get away from the bullshit that got him elected and be a little, and that faded away within 3 days. As soon as they start the biggest crowd ever at the inauguration with Sean Spicer
within 24 hours. I'm done.
You knew, and then it wasn't that much longer after that Kellyanne Conway went on CNN and presented the great philosophical theory of alternative facts.
Alternative facts.
That's
what we're getting right now.
And alternative facts are what has ruled the last 4 years. Mm-hmm. I don't believe what's in front of me. And then when Donald Trump said, do not believe what you read or see or hear, just believe me at a rally, he said it there. They were all in with him. It was Hitler-esque. That's what this was.
This
I'm a
reminds
dictator.
me-
I am the truth. I am the Lord. I am it. Do not
Whatever-
believe any other than me.
Whatever I say, that's it. But this reminds me so much of those government shutdowns over the wall, or the government shutdown over the wall, where he would put himself in a corner. There's no win for it, and then that people would beg Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi, "You got to give him a win. You got to give him a win so that we can get out of this." And right now, he's barricaded himself, and somebody's got to give him a win. And I don't think anybody's going to be able to save his ass on this one.
I don't hear anybody saying that. I don't see anybody really saying anyone's got to give him a win. Republican dissonance does not extend to any of these Republican senators. Every damn one of them who knows Trump's full of shit, saying that he deserves a win, that he deserves the election, that he deserves, and it doesn't matter that there's no evidence. It's because Donald Trump feels that he got robbed. None of them believe that, and none of them are saying that. They just couch it in, all votes, all legal votes should be counted, as if, wow, we're breaking some ground with that one. Woo.
Did you see what Rand Paul? Did you see what Rand Paul said? Rand Paul tweets that all these dead people got stimulus checks. So if that happened, how many dead people do you think voted in the election? That's the parallel that he made. The incompetence of the Trump administration being established. That's why the election must be fraudulent. So Rand Paul, go fuck yourself. And I hope your neighbor goes and beats the shit out of you again. Because if you're saying that sort of thing, you can forget about it. So this circles us back to what we basically touched on a little while ago, and that is the Bill Barr fake. Again, he comes out of the woodwork, that toad, and he says, well, we're going to have the Department of Justice use the FBI. We're going to investigate, quote unquote, election fraud. And they've narrowed it down to Pennsylvania and Nevada. And do you think this is going to go anywhere, Brad? Because we've already had the guy who was in charge of election fraud at the FBI go, I'm out, forget it, I'm resigning. So where do you think? And again, this is very dangerous stuff. You are undermining one of the tenets and one of the pillars of this country in the Federal Bureau of Investigation and the Department of Justice, and you're doing it just to preserve this asshole's ego, right?
There's nothing there. There's just nothing there.
Right.
And how many days in a row now do we have to go, well, another case was thrown out of X court today, usually state level courts, because there was no evidence that was presented on behalf of the supposition that there was fraud. And what's even more stunning is that they keep saying over and over again that Republican poll watchers were not allowed in blank. And then there's all this video of what was going on inside, and there were Republican poll watchers. They were everywhere. So they're just lying. It's all lying. And you're right that I guess this is all about mollifying Donald Trump's ego, but my God, how do you, this is beyond the, how do you sleep at night? Yeah, this is way beyond that. It's as if none of these people apparently ever in their life has ever lost a job.
Yeah.
It's as if your life ends the minute you don't have elective office anymore. Now, it's worth keeping elective office to have the country collapse. It's worth keeping your political office to see the entire structure of 240 years of hard work by millions of people go down the drain. But at least you're still a senator. You're still a congressman. I can't figure it out. I can't understand it. And now we're about 300 miles past the, which Republican senator is going to be the Barry Goldwater of this? We're way past that.
There's no Barry Gold. Barry Goldwater is dead. Richard Nixon is dead. I wish I was dead.
I wish I was dead. Yeah. I mean, we're way past that, and we're way past the. Please stop asking it on TV anchors. Please stop asking. Okay, what person can walk into Donald Trump's office and tell him the truth that it's time to? I'm asking it. Just stop doing it. There is no one. He listens to no one. He bragged about the fact that he listens to no one for all these years. I'm my own best advisor. And at this moment, he's on his own. He's on his own. Yet at the same time, everybody's out there on the Republican side pretending that they're on his team, and they're faking it. They're all faking it.
Transition officials for President-elect Joseph R. Biden Jr. called on a top Trump administration appointee yesterday to end what they said was unwarranted obstruction of the money and access that federal law says must flow to the winner of a presidential election. The officials speaking on background to reporters on Monday night said it was nearly unprecedented for Emily Murphy, who is the administrator of something called the General Services Administration, to refuse to issue a letter of ascertainment, which would allow Joe Biden's transition team to begin the transfer of power.
I have an objection to the language used in there.
Yes.
Because they use the word, it's nearly unprecedented.
That's
really?
The New York Times. That's the New York Times story.
Well, if may I say something? Fuck the New York Times for giving cover, because if it's just nearly unprecedented, then it may have happened in the past, right?
This is a Maggie Haberman byline. I can't believe
I'm sorry. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a shit. Okay, that's bullshit.
It shouldn't have been.
Is the Times not want to offend Donald Trump? Is the Times unwilling to tell the truth about this? No, this is unprecedented. It isn't nearly unprecedented.
You can't
We've had contentious elections before. It really annoys me. It does annoy me.
So that I think you're right to be upset about that. That language is kind of inexcusable. By law, it says Miss Murphy, the head of the sprawling agency that keeps the federal government functioning, and must formally recognize Mr. Biden as incoming president in order for his transition to begin. It has been 3 days since the news organizations. By the way, the media does not pick a president, Brad. I don't know if you've heard that.
And you know what? The media didn't pick the president.
They didn't. They just reported.
The voters picked the president.
They reported math. That's what they did.
Right. And the count has become beyond reach for any outstanding votes that haven't been counted. But go ahead with the false premise.
Well, the big deal on this is that it does allow them to have a little slower role in getting things started. For example, on a coronavirus response and getting their task force together, and also it's national security. It's really everything, and it's inexcusable that this would be happening. There are a lot of people who know this woman. I don't, and they say that eventually she's going to end up doing the right thing, and it's going to be sooner rather than later. So don't come down like a ton of bricks on her. But it does seem to be that there is kind of a slow roll here, and here's another person who somehow feels like they have to kiss the ass of Donald John Trump for whatever reason, Brad.
I mean, do we need a terrorist attack to occur right now?
I don't know.
That could be pointed to because the transition has the current administration completely asleep and the incoming administration out of the loop.
I don't know.
Is it going to take that?
And again,
if I was in the terrorism business, man, I'd be getting it done right now. I'd do it right now, because we already have the country torn in half, and this would just seal it forever. Because then they'd start pointing fingers. You know, if Joe Biden hadn't claimed victory illegally early, this wouldn't have happened. You know, they'll just make up shit like that, just garbage like that.
No, I think you make a great point. And when you say terrorist attack, let's be very clear what we're talking about. The terrorist attacks that have been taking place in this country since 9/11 for sure have been from right-wing terrorist groups, like from neo-Nazis and white supremacists. We did have a Muslim extremist down at a naval base in Florida. Sure, that happened. But the more likely scenario for you to be killed and to be injured in a terrorist attack has come from neo-Nazis and white supremacists, almost all of whom throw their undying support toward Donald John Trump. Am I lying about anything that I just said, Brad?
No, of course not. Of course.
So that's what you're talking about in a terrorist attack. And I'm going to be completely honest with you. I felt very frightened when I saw those folks celebrating in Wilmington, Delaware on Saturday night when they were in that parking lot. And it scared me to no end to think that some idiot would come in with an AR-15 and just start mowing people down. Yeah. And I don't want to think that way. I don't want to live in a country where I think that could happen. That's another thing that has gone kind of silent in the COVID era, since we don't have people gathering in large numbers in places. We haven't had a lot of mass shootings. But when people start gathering again in large numbers, and when that vaccine happens, guess what's going to happen again, Brad? Because we have not addressed anything regarding gun violence in this country. And that's another thing that I'm hoping Joe Biden will be able to help out. At least he won't be an impediment to it like the guy who's in the White House right now.
No.
So that's what you talk about when you talk about a terrorist activity, and when you talk about the transition. This is another one of those things that's an in-your-face kind of situation for the Trump people to point to, and they're like, "You go, Emily Murphy. You just shove it in Joe Biden's face. We're going to slow that because he's not president. He can't declare himself."
I pine for the good old days. I do live in the past, Britt, and I remember when the big controversy during the transition was that when Bill Clinton left office and then George W. Bush got the election, Gore versus Bush, controversial Supreme Court, that they took all the W's off the typewriters.
I remember,
as protest. And by the way, I don't know whether that actually did.
No, it didn't. That was absolutely debunked. That was false.
I just like the story that looking back, if that's the level of interference in the transition, give me some of that now. Just taking a key off the typewriters.
Absolutely.
Okay? Right. Not a threat to national security. How about that? Not really.
No, but that story was completely and thoroughly debunked. There was all sorts of stuff about them trashing the offices of the White House and all this horse shit, which never happened. It was never real. That was true fake news. And what you're seeing right now is a real witch hunt. We've heard him screaming about witch hunts for 3.5 to 4 years now. What you're seeing now with this Bill Barr investigation into alleged election fraud, there's your real witch hunt, because as you say, there's no there there. And Bill Barr knows that there's no there there, but it has to seem like he has to show to Donald Trump, to the king and his supporters, that he's going to, whatever the guy says, I'll do. Whatever he says. If he says that my dick is made out of pizza, I'm going to call Pizza Hut. It doesn't matter. They're gonna make it happen this way. And all of this, again, is extremely dangerous to these idiots. You saw what happened after the election in 2016, early 2017, when that guy drove from North Carolina up to the pizza place in Washington, D.C., and they were able to nab that guy before he did way too much damage. I think he actually shot somebody. But anyway, he was believing in all these conspiracy theories about the DNC and about Hillary Clinton and Susan Rice running some sort of child sex thing and some sort of pizzeria in Washington, D.C. All of this QAnon shit continues to flow unfettered. We actually have people who are going to be representing people in the United States Congress who are subscribed to this QAnon bullshit. And those people are being fed mother's milk. They are being given all the sustenance they need in this week since the election, because this guy, he just wants to play with fire. Well, he does not see the danger to the country.
Isn't the QAnon congressman this woman from Georgia?
Yeah.
Isn't she? So I guess she'll be on the campaign trail with.
Why wouldn't she?
Kelly Loeffler.
Why wouldn't she?
And David Perdue. Right.
That's exactly right.
So go for it. Bring her on.
It's another chance for me to talk about those Georgia races with Ossoff and with Warnock. If you want to contribute to those, you should do that, because Georgia is going to be vital. And as you talk about him having these rallies and stuff, yeah, he would be going down there to I would think Trump would campaign for David Perdue and have another super spreader event somewhere in Georgia. To me, that makes more sense in Pennsylvania now that I'm thinking about it. Doesn't it to you?
Wait, dude. Oh, I don't want to say it. It's too stupid. Because
there's nothing that's too stupid, Brad. It's a free space. You're in a safe zone.
I don't even want to say, do you really think? Because I know the answer.
Yeah.
He would continue to hold rallies exactly the same way.
Sure.
In just as dangerous a fashion.
Sure.
As he had been during the campaign, with the numbers already definitive that thousands of people have contracted the coronavirus as a result of being at the rallies, in addition to the events inside the White House, the several of the large scale events over the last couple months, that at this hour, he would still hold those events in defiance of good sense,
absolutely,
local rules, CDC guidelines. And of course they would. So that's why I tried to stop myself before even bringing it up, because I know the answer. I know the answer to all these things. It's always, of course he will. Of course he doesn't care. And look at the success it brought him already in Georgia. Well, he's lost Georgia. Georgia was supposed to be in the bag for him. So,
and he's going to go to one of those shitty towns in Georgia, like Albany or Valdosta or someplace like, Gainesville or someplace like that, and have one of his rallies be a super spreader event. And then he'll bitch about and maybe he'll, like you said, you thought he was never going to read the snake again. He pulls that thing out in North Carolina last week of the campaign. And that's what pulled out the election for Donald Trump.
I thought that was going to cinch it for him.
That really put him over the
I
top.
thought-
That's how you
I
know the
thought-
voting is illegal.
You know, when you brought me in that I was a snake.
Yeah, you knew it.
You knew it.
I don't have an upbeat thing to leave us with today to end today's gathering, Brad. So you try to send us out on a positive note, because I'm pretty pissed right now. I don't like any of this that's going on.
No, I'm. You're gonna whack me.
Oh, I'll be happy to.
But I'm not gonna do it.
Oh, please! You're not going to put
gonna do
yourself out there just for the edification of this audience, which has supported us for these many years. You're not going to let me whack you as we exit the proceedings here on the Tuesday.
No, I'm just gonna, because if I do it, you're gonna say, "Oh, you're a fan of the Backstreet Boys," and I'm not. So I'm just not gonna go there. No.
There we go. That's what we got for today, guys.
That's it.
Thank you.